Welcome back to Lunchtime with Luka. So first off, let me tell you that this is the second time we're doing this because the first time the whiteboard looked blank on a video. But here's a lesson for you, right? This time around it will be even better. So what is today's video about? Listen, so I got a lot of emails, comments, and things like of that nature that continually ask me about what is the best nutrition plan. Like, what is the simplest way to break it down? Let me first tell you that complexity when it comes to anything in life, especially in nutrition, many times becomes the reason, right? We make things complex so that then you can go like, oh, you know, it was so complex, so I didn't do it. Where when it's simple, it's just like, well, just do this shit. Just do this. So what I'm doing today, today's nutrition, legitimately, if you went point by point from what we're going to do today, you can in the next 6 months, 12 months, completely transform the way you look, feel, your health, period. Right? This is a very step-by-step process. Simple, it goes from simple to more complex. Now, if there's 3 levels of nutrition, today is going to cover 1 and 2. I'll say this, so beginner and intermediate. We're going to do a separate video for advanced. And what I'll say is this. I played professional basketball for a long time. In training, I was advanced. In nutrition, I was a beginner. So many people, if you're not getting the results that you want right now from your nutrition, so you may be training hard, but not seeing the body composition changes that you like, that you want, I'd have you consider that you may be a beginner. And that's okay, because if you take beginner steps, you will get the best results. And not only the best results, but also ones that you can maintain. Because everything that we talk about, it doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter. There's nothing more frustrating in life than when you do something, achieve a result, only for it to go away. Lose 20 pounds, feel better, gain it back, because it was unsustainable. So what we're going to go over today is the step-by-step process, the simple process of how to not only change your health and performance and the way that you look, but also maintain it and keep it. We're going to dig deep into this. So without further ado, right, this is going to be literally a teaching, coaching process tutorial, as you might say, on this. So the board this time, you can see things on it, which is absolutely amazing, right? But we're going to start in this top left corner, and there's 3 things written here. One is holy cause, why, or the it. All right, so you can't start anything, right? If you really truly want to have success with it, without knowing what your holy cause is. What is your deep reason why you're doing it? The reason I say that is because we can jump to all the numbers and all this cool stuff, but the thing is if you don't really have something that lights a fire under you for this change that's deep, you're not going to get up in the morning. You're not going to make that change because it won't matter enough. There won't be enough emotional connection to it. So with that said, like, you do have to, here at Vigor, we talk a lot about the it. What is your it? Some people call it the why. Some people call it their holy cause. But what is the thing that, like, is beyond, it's intrinsically motivating, right? It's not extrinsic. It's not material. It's not, right? It's a fire within that you want to fulfill that will allow you to do this beyond the quick fix, cleanse, 6-week, 30-day, 8-week process. Because if you want to do the 6 to 8 week, 30-day process, this is probably not for you. Could you get results in that time frame? Sure you could, especially if you jump to level 2. But I'm talking to the person that doesn't want to go like this anymore, doesn't want the yo-yo effect, the physical and emotional stress, the psychological stress of getting some result and then falling off, getting some results, being frustrated with it, and like not enjoying the process. Okay, this is huge. You should be excited about changing your lifestyle, changing your life, changing your body composition and performance, and not be stressed about everything that you're doing all the time to get there. So that's what we're doing today. So having that holy cause and why, and I'm going to actually reach into the chapter of a book that I co-authored called The Rapid Body Makeover. By the way, if you come to the gym and try us out for a week for free, I'll give you one of these books. Simple. Okay, but here's the thing is when it comes to this, we want to set goals the right way. So what I talk in this book is my chapter specifically is on goal setting. I'm going to run through some things that are very, very important, setting goals the right way. Number 1, set specific goals. What is it that you want to achieve? And I would say, you know, beyond just weight, it's like, how do you want to look like? How do you want to feel like? Right? Having a picture, maybe it's as a way they used to look like. Maybe it's like somebody else, right? But having a specific goal, I'm not like just saying I want to get fit or I want to lose weight is not specific. So, hey, I want to go get down to, you know, 9% body fat at 205 pounds. That's more specific. If it's like I want to get fit, maybe, like I said, it's a certain challenge, or I want to deadlift 400 pounds, or I want to do this, that, and the other. See, those are specific goals, right? Big difference between just being general. I just want to feel better. I just want to do this, right? So number 2 is you got to set goals that you can measure. Once again, if it's performance goals, we should be able to measure them. If you deadlift 200 right now, but your goal is 300, we can measure that. We can measure progress. If it's weight, we can measure that. I'm not a big fan of just measuring weight because it can be misleading. So I like circumference measurements, body weight percentage if you can get it. But a lot of times pictures, pant sizes, measurements, and I always like to connect performance stuff to it. Even if your goal is losing weight, we love to like add performance goals here at Vigor. So set specific goals, set goals you can measure. Number 3 is set big goals, right? It's important. Like you should have a big goal. You shouldn't be scared of like wanting what you want. Want what you want. Let it be big. And we're going to move on, right? Set realistic deadlines. So saying I want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, is it impossible? Not at all. Question is, can you maintain that, right? And a lot of stuff that you see on TV now, it's like the detox, the cleanses, like, you know, lose 3 pant sizes in 21 days. My question is what happens after the 21 days? Because everything we do here is to get you to that goal and then have you maintain that goal because it's part of your new life. Not just a plan that you just can't wait to get off of because it's stressing the hell out. Okay? Number 5 is set long-term and short-term goals. Now, what this means here is, like we said, set a big goal. But that big goal may be a year out. Right? So when we break it down, like long-term goal may be your ultimate body. Okay? Like how you want to look, the perfect body. Okay? 1-year goals, maybe your ultimate body is a 1-year goal. 3-month goals, and then weekly goals, which may be some type of tracking, which may be a picture, maybe a weigh-in. Not that I love weigh-ins very regularly. And then daily goals will be habits. We'll get to that in a second, right? So that's number 5, set long-term and short-term goals. 6 is focus and prioritize on your main goal, okay? So meaning that like you have things that allow you to focus on that, whether it's mantras, whether it's sticky notes, whether it's a picture on like a vision board or something like that. We already talked about the why. Why do you want to achieve those goals? You want to attach emotional reasons to it. Like if it's not deeply emotional to you, then what does it matter? Why would you push through a tough time if you're not connecting it to something that's really deeply rooted in something that you want, but it's emotional? And then write out a list of affirmations. Like how we talk to ourselves is very, very important, right? So affirmations and visualizing are the next 2. So thinking about like, first of all, that not like just I want to, but like I am, right? So it's June of 2016 and I am whatever your goal may be. Or it's the summer of, it's July or August of 2015 and I'm in my bikini, I'm weighing this much, that much, right? It's like we're already telling our brain like it's happening. So those are just some things that fall under the goal setting. But the thing is, if you don't set your goals correctly and you just kind of go with it and you hope that it works, this is where we actually start seeing like it's building the foundation. If the foundation is not solid, you guys heard this all the time, you can't move forward from there. So this is step number 1. And without this step, a lot of the rest will not be as effective and efficient. I can tell you that 100%. All right? So from there on, we move into the awareness part, right? So you can see this little thing I drew is called a habit loop. So awareness precedes change. It's one of my favorite quotes because it rings so true. How do you change something if you're not aware that it's not right, or if you're not aware that it's getting you to where you want to go? So what we first do with people is like find out, so what is it you feel that's stopping you right now from moving forward with your body composition when it comes to nutrition? Oh, every time I come home at night, I binge. right? I just snack a lot, and so on and so forth, right? So what we're going to do first is find out the cue. So there's always a cue that creates an action and then gets the reward. So the cue here, see, the action is binging at night, right? Is coming home from work and eating a ton of food. I want to find out what the cue is. How do you feel? What feeling triggers this action? And at the beginning, I don't even want to know. All I want to know is when you feel that feeling. And what is that feeling? And write it down. See, this creates awareness of what is actually the cause of the reason why we eat. Because most eating is emotional. It could be like, oh, I'm coming, you know what? Like, I had breakfast at work. I don't really eat much. I'm just drinking a ton of coffee. Stressful at work. I come home. Everybody's kind of just like going crazy. I'm taking care of the kids. And then when they go to bed, I just want to sit down. I just want some comfort. I'm just so stressed out, and just food just comforts me. Right? So then we start going like, okay, you're stressed from what? And we start seeing those emotions, and what tends to happen is once you get awareness, you actually start doing less of it. So maybe what we need to do is like actually get a bigger meal at lunchtime, or a protein shake on the way back home. But the awareness and the cue, like what actually triggers this, is key, because then we can address it. Versus making all these nutritional recommendations that don't make a difference if the cue continues to trigger this action. So awareness is the first key to change, right? Because people actually themselves start going like, wow, I see this pattern. The pattern is I'm always like, I come home and I'm stressed out and I don't have things prepared because I'm always doing things for the kids and husband and so on and so forth. And then when I'm off, I just want to have the easiest things available to me. Right? And we're going to get into preparation and things like that. But the point is, we need awareness. From there, we go into habit change. Right? Now, here's a crazy, powerful statistic. Right? If we want to change 3 or more habits at one time, the success rate is only about 7%. So less than 1 out of 10 people can actually do that, 3 or more habits at one time. 2 habits is a little over 30%, and then 1 habit is 87%. So 9 out of 10 people can change 1 habit at a time. But what is the tendency with pretty much just about every nutrition program, every transformational program is what? Okay, here's like start training 4 days a week, which by the way is a humongous habit change, and here's a meal plan that's to the T. I want you to stick to it. Now, there's very, very few people, less than 1 out of 10, A-type personalities that may be able to do that. And the number goes down even more if we start adding more habits here. Right? So you think about a New Year's resolution or a pre-summer contest and challenge. Here's the meal plan, 8 weeks. But we're adding 20, 30 habits at one time of change. Because this person was eating like this for breakfast, this for lunch, this for dinner. Now we got 5 meals, and each one is different. And we're asking them to go sleep earlier and then come in for training sessions 4 days a week and change this, 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 and that. This is a huge amount of habits, which is why people can do it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. But it's unsustainable beyond that. There's so much threat and stress and pressure that you're just wanting to go back to your old ways. I just want to take a little bit of a break. Right? Now, we've done thousands of transformations, legitimately, thousands of transformations. This is always the cycle. It's always the habit loop that happens. Right? Whereas the goal is to change consistently, get results consistently, and maintain them long term, where it becomes part of your life. So you don't have to do that again. You don't have to go back again. 3 times a year for special occasions, you're doing detoxes, cleanses, quick fixes, 6-week programs just to get in great shape, quote unquote, so that then you fall off again and your body is in stress mode consistently. You're either stressing to get to a certain point or you're falling off. So with that said, some people can handle more, some people can handle less. That's an individual thing, which the question we start asking is, put it this way, how comfortable are you, right, on a scale of 1 to 10, that you can do this 90% of the time? So if we make a habit change, if the person's like, you know what, I feel good about that, cool, we add it. Now, what we have to first realize here is like what is, right? What is the current reality? And this is where a journal comes into play. We'll look at 3, 4, 5 days of a regular weekly schedule. What is happening in those days? Like we literally will look at the plan. And ask the person, hey, what do you feel is one of the main things that needs to change? And what are you most comfortable changing first from what you're doing right now to get you moving ahead? So I'm not telling you what you need to do. I'm asking you, what do you feel is the thing that is really stopping you? And which one do you feel comfortable changing first? Right? Because what does that mean? There's belief there. If the person says, well, this one, I trust myself. I believe that I can change this one first. Maybe it's a smaller one. Maybe it's a bigger one, up to them. But there's belief in that change versus me going like, hey, listen, this is really messing you up. You gotta change that. That may be too stressful. Maybe they can't take that on. So we find out what the current reality is and we look at the journal. Right? We've created awareness. We're looking at the journal. What is going on right now? Now, so I'm going to give you an example, and then we start making changes, and it may be one change. I'm going to give you a powerful example from one of the coaching clients that actually joined us less than a month ago. Drinking half a gallon of soda every day, not sugar-free. Right? The only change we made was dropping the soda, upping the water intake. Now, the thing is, it doesn't even have to be a full don't drink any soda, but hey, switch from sugary Coca-Cola to a Coke Zero, and from like a half a gallon to 1 or 2 cans. Now that result in itself was, I think, 13 or 14 pounds of weight loss in like 2 weeks. That one habit change, powerful, versus like a complex meal plan that creates more stress in the current lifestyle of that person that has a 12-hour a day job, that has kids, businesses, all these different things that are already like really, really high strung. So we're looking at the whole picture, not separate parts of the picture. We're looking at the whole to create this change that truly is transformational, right? Versus like, ooh, I'm so smart, I'm going to give you all this like macro cycling and shit like that, which is level 3, okay? So these are the main habits that we look at, right? Eating every 2 to 4 hours. Now, I say 2 to 4 because some people prefer 5 meals a day, some people prefer 2 to 3. And there actually is no, science shows that whether you eat 2 meals or 6 meals a day, the only thing that matters is how many calories are you eating and what is the thermic effect of food. So meaning like how many carbs and protein and fats. Now, I will say that if you're trying to maintain and put on muscle, there is a huge benefit of eating 4 to 5 times a day of protein. Right? Because it's really good for nitrogen balance and building muscle and how much you can uptake and things like that. But this is a pretty good general recommendation, eating it every 2 to 4 hours. Eating complete protein with every meal. Huge. This is something that very few people do, having protein with every single meal that they have because it's a thermic food, right? And it fills you up. Protein fills you up, which is why it's also like very beneficial. Eating veggies with every meal, right? Also one of the habits. If fat loss is your main goal, eating fruits and veggies with every meal and other carbs only after training. Other carbs would be starchy and sugary carbs. So this is where we kind of go like, hey, if it's muscle building, we might spread it out throughout the day. But if fat loss is your main goal, every meal should have fruits and veggies. We usually go to 5-to-1 ratio. So if you have a ton of spinach, you have some blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, something like that. But if your main goal is fat loss, we only want to have the starchy and sugary carbs either a little bit before training too, but after training, okay? Next one would be eating healthy fats daily. Most people don't have a good amount of healthy fats, right? So fish oils, avocado, nuts, coconut oils, right? From there, 0-calorie beverages. So with 0-calorie beverages, why it's so important is that usually when we talk nutrition, most people say, this is what I eat. They never really think about the intake from beverages. So if you think about fruit juices and things like that, like people go like, oh, that's pretty healthy, but there's a ton of sugar in there. Tons of calories, tons of sugar. And like I said, if you're talking about like soft drinks, sugary ones, the calories get cranked up. Mocha, choca, loca, foca, I don't drink those, but the point is that like when you have a lot of things in your coffee, that cranks up the calories a ton, right? So especially now we have the, I've heard bulletproof coffees, putting butter in coffee and things like that, and you got 500 calorie coffees. Okay, so the point is, like, 0-calorie beverages, that's one of the habits, and it's one that we started off with one of our coaching clients. So this is not a list that we need to follow to the T step by step. Okay, eating whole foods instead of supplements. Now, I'm obviously a fan of supplements, especially whey protein, to be able to get that protein in, because most people don't get enough and it's convenient, but we still promote whole foods over supplements. And planning ahead, that's huge. It's huge, it's huge. Like I said, stress and anxiety are alleviated by planning. If you prepare, the more you prepare, the less stressed you are. So if you know things are coming up, you can't believe how little time on a Sunday it might take an hour to prepare food all the way through Wednesday. Or maybe it's even lunch, just lunch that may be the limiting factor right now in how successful you are with your nutrition. All you have to do is create lunch or plan for it, right? So what we do here is we consistently build on these habits. And as we add them, if you can be 90% compliant with that habit, just the one habit, we continue to add. Some people can add faster, can add more habits at the same time. But my thing is, you get to the next step if you're a successful one. And this is where we see really big results off of small, like basically small habits that I say small hinges swing big doors. Where a small change, or I should say something that seems small, really creates a big turnaround. Because what tends to happen is there's many keystone habits. A keystone habit means one habit that influences a lot of other habits. So just having a smoothie, like one of the big habits is like having breakfast in the morning. Most people have something quick, coffee, something sugary, cereal, donuts, whatnot. We take that out and just replace it with a super smoothie, right? Which can be a lot of different tastes that you like. Some blueberries, a little bit of peanut butter, spinach, whey protein, ice, tastes delicious, fills you up, good nutrients. Early in the morning, you're full. But the thing is, it was a keystone habit. It helped you change. Another keystone habit is training early in the morning. And when you train early in the morning, people tend to make better nutrition choices throughout the day. So this is all part of this lifestyle change. And here's the thing is, this is not stressful. I say keep it simple. Complexity is the killer of results. So if you're like, hey, you know what? I know I can. I know I can add a one training session, and I know I can add this one or two habits. I can drink more water, and I can drink a smoothie in the morning, and the rest of the day will be the same. And I'm going to do that for 2 weeks. And watch what happens to your results. Now, once we get people having many of these habits implemented into their day, we'll move to the calories. Now, does that mean that you can't go straight to calories? Sure you can. Like I said, level 1. Now this is moving to level 2 nutrition. If you're a beginner, I would start here. If you're intermediate, I'd go here. Okay, so it really comes down to you. Now, what we do with people is sit down to truly find out where you are. Because the only thing I care about is results. Results are the only things that speak whether something is working. Have you ever been like, well, but I've been putting a lot of effort and I've been going to the gym a lot. And I'm like, okay, so what are your results like? I'm not happy with my results. Okay, then that doesn't matter. Because we need to find out what's either not working or we need to take steps back to take steps forward. Right? The only thing that matters is results. So to say like I have this really complex plan, okay, what is it doing? It's not getting me results. All I care about is results, period. Right? So results and results that are sustainable. Now, you see this right here. It says 80-10-10 rule. Okay? I'm just going to run back to that real quick to explain what this means. Our philosophy is 80% of nutrition should be wholesome foods, minimally processed, that you love. So we're never trying to have anybody eat foods they don't love. Love. So when we make a list of the different proteins, like here's the proteins. Lean ground beef, lean ground turkey, fish, eggs, yogurt, kefirs, cottage cheese. Here's all these different fish. Here's all these different proteins that you can have, like lamb, so on and so forth. You get to pick and choose. Which ones do you love? Oh, I love, 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 love. Awesome, that's what you'll be eating. Same thing with carbs. Here's all the different carbs that you can eat. Okay, so you're picking all these foods that you love, that you're excited about eating, versus getting a plan of like, hey, you're going to have tilapia and asparagus 6 times a day. And your brain is going like, oh my God, this is horrible shit, right? So you have to be excited about the plan to be able for it to be sustainable. So 80% is that. 10% is foods that you like, may not love, you like, but you need. So this is on an individual basis. Some people need to get more quality fats in, some people need to get more veggies, certain nutrients, right? And so we're going to plug those 10% in based on who you are and what you need, what you have a deficiency in. Right? You're still not hating these foods. May not love them, but you like them. 10%, the last 10% is to eat whatever the hell you want. Twinkies, cookies, pizza, I don't give a shit. The point here is this. Your 10%, you should never feel like you have to stop eating the foods that you just like. Whether it's cheesecake, whether it's this, whether it's that. That 10%, if you stick to that 80-10-10, you will have great results. Unless you know, that 10%, even for like the highest level athletes, we actually plug that in. What I'm saying is, like, you should never think that you're you have to drop everything. Maybe you like drinking wine or beer. We're going to plug that in there, but also explain, like, hey, if this is the result you want, then, you know, you can't drink 10 beers a week. You can drink 3. Now, whether you want to split them up into 3 days of 1 beer or one day of 3 or 4 beers, that's up to you. Lifestyle. It fits your lifestyle. And what we tend to do is a lot of people say, you know, hey, this is the result I want. I want to be ripped. I want to be super lean. And then we're like, okay, great. That's awesome. All right, here's what it'll take. And people, and it's kind of like, that's how much it's going to dig into my social life? Yeah. But you can have this result and continue to have the social life to this level that you want. Okay. They're basically, you got to weigh them out. And that's okay. Right? If you want to walk around as a guy 5% all year round, trust me, you're going to have to make insane sacrifices. And if you're willing to do that and that makes you happy, great. If not, hey, I'll personally tell you, I like staying under 10% body fat, but if somebody told me that the majority of the year that I have to take out nights with my friends where I go to good restaurants and need some foods that are so-so and I can't have 2 or 3 glasses of wine a week, I got a problem. Right? Now, if for a photo shoot, I'll get really compliant for 8 weeks, do a photo shoot, go back to my norm. Right? But at the same time, I also know that for me, I don't like being over 10% body fat, so I do what's necessary, what's required, and I'm okay with it. Actually, it's a normal lifestyle for me. Everybody has their own. Nobody judges, but you have to love it. You have to love it yourself. We just make it clear that to be here, this is what is required. And if you're willing to do that, happy to do that, awesome. We'll make the plan. We'll get you there, period. So that's important to understand. All right, so now moving into level 2, which is the calories. Now, what I'm gonna fly through this a little bit, but listen up closely. Now, first, we have to determine how many calories per pound of body weight you should be eating. And we base this first on whether the activity level. So if you're sedentary, which means minimal exercise, maybe none. Maybe you're just coming off from doing very little, right? And you'd fall into here. Minimal activity, or I should say moderate activity, right, would be 3 to 4 times a week of training activity. So it doesn't mean necessarily hard training. May mean you're just active, okay? Very active is 5 to 7 days a week. You're either doing physical labor, at work, you're training, you're playing sports. So that would be 5 to 7 days a week. And then we have, if you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, or maintain weight. So here's the numbers, okay? If you're basically sedentary and you're not very active, to lose weight, your calorie range would be between 10 and 12 calories per pound of body weight. So I'm going to take a 200-pound guy because it's easy to like kind of see the picture of this. They'd be eating between 2,000 to 2,400 calories per day, right? Trying to lose weight and not really moving much. If that same person, if he's moderately active, 12 to 14 calories per pound of body weight. So now they're eating 2,400 to 2,800 calories a day. And if very active, it's 14 to 16. Okay? If that person's trying to gain weight, I'm sorry, this is actually to maintain. Switch these up. So if you're trying to maintain weight, 12 to 14 calories per pound of body weight. 14 to 16 if you're moderately active. 16 to 18 calories per pound of body weight if you're very active. And if you're trying to gain weight, it's 16 to 18, 18 to 20, and 20 to 22. Now, I'll have you consider this. That if these are the numbers, let's look at the current trend of like low-calorie diets and what it does. Okay? What it does is that like you'll have some fast results of weight loss, but you'll most likely be also losing muscle mass. And muscle mass is your metabolism. So it slows down metabolism. And also when you're very active, this is what we see a lot. People that are moderately or very active, they're training, they're getting some results, they hit a plateau. How many times a week are you training? I'm training 5 days a week, 6 days a week, sometimes doubles. And it may be a 160-pound lady that's taking in 1,200 calories a day. Now, let me like take this back. If you're training 5 days, 6 days a week, and they're trying to lose weight on body fat, it's 14 to 16 calories per pound of body weight, which means that for a 160-pound lady, we're looking at over 2,000 calories. Close to. And they're eating 1,200. Humongous problem. You're not getting enough nutrients, you're not getting enough calories for the energy expenditure, so your body is going to slow down. You're going to feel lethargy, you might start feeling cranky, always hungry, no energy to train, headaches, all types of things, tough time sleeping, thyroid starts getting, you get what we'll call metabolic damage. It's not necessarily your metabolism being damaged, but we'll call it metabolic damage for the purposes. Right? And this is where we get stuck. And that's why, like right now, like Sin, one of our clients who's lost 140, 150 pounds, I mean, in over a span of a year and a half plus, is currently eating 2,600 calories a day, dropping weight, 2,600 calories a day, dropping weight at about 150, 160 pounds. Because she's super active, right? Getting the right nutrients in, and her body's loving that. The muscle mass, her metabolism's revving. So I wanted to bring this to light because most people are under-eating. Men and women are under-eating to hit their goals. So short-term, you see some result in weight loss, but long-term, you're seeing these effects of plateaus of metabolic damage, we'll call it, right? And so this is a shining a light. Now, obviously, we tend to dig in deeper, but these are really good standards. These are really good numbers to go off of. Now, from here, the next step would be macros. And I know you hear this a lot. All that macros means is macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fat. So how much of that are you taking in per day? That's it. It's as simple as that. What is the makeup of the food that you eat per day? So all these calories, what are they made up of, the foods, right, and the macronutrients? Now here, we go and look at 3 categories, right? They're called somatotypes. But like I said, I don't want to get too geeky about this. Ectomorph means somebody that is a tough time gaining weight. So you'd call them the skinny person, super fast thyroid. Like I said, tough to gain weight. They say, hey, I try to eat everything under the sun, and I just can't gain weight. So this person can tolerate carbs very well. And in that situation, the breakdown would be 25% protein, 55% carbs, and 20% fat, which is really high in carbs, right? And I would say the biggest problem with this person is that they eat too little. They think they eat a lot, but they don't eat enough. So we always go into calorie mode and give them goals of what they should hit. Mesomorph is the person that everybody probably hates because they stay lean, they put on muscle in an easier way, right? And so they're right kind of somewhere across the board, 30% protein, 40% carbs, 30% fat. And we can play around with this a little bit, obviously, but it's kind of right down the middle, okay? And then Endomorph, which is most people that we see, is somebody, like I said, that has insulin resistance, is tough, like they have a tough time losing body weight and body fat, and we'll say have, let's just say that we're trying to improve their insulin resistance, and now here's the thing, is like, they may not, the lifestyle may have brought them to that stage. So this is somebody that's really trying to significantly lose body fat and weight, okay? And you can see here we got 40% protein, 25% carbs, and 35% fat. So higher in protein, higher in fat, lower in carbs, right? So we can start regulating that insulin, getting more fat burning out of it. And really, to not complicate this, I would just say, hey, if you're trying to burn fat, lose weight, you're going to be somewhere here. You're trying to build muscle, you're going to be somewhere here, right? And if you're, and like I said, you're leaner, you're skinnier, you're somewhere here. And we'll go deeper into the individualization of that, but this is really simple for you, okay? Most people that we see, 40, 25, 35. Now, this is what's important. If you have been training for a while and you've lost weight, and you've been eating somewhat like that, like higher protein, higher fat, lower carb, but now you've lost a certain percentage of body fat, you put on muscle, and you're continuing to be here, this is detrimental. This is also a reason why you're probably slowing down, because you need more carbs. Not only are carbs energy, but like they help with brain function. So you may have moved to this place now, 30, 40, 30. Right? So we see tendencies of something that's working to continue that because you think that it's going to continue working, but your body's changed. You put on muscle, you're more active, your metabolism's faster, you fixed your metabolic damage. It's time to move into a different section. So that's very important to like look at, like I said, once we go into level 2. Then the question starts becoming like, okay, Luka, well, how should I eat these when I have my macros? How should I break it down? Should I break it down into every meal is the same? Or certain meals have more carbs, more protein, certain don't. So this is very simple. People that tolerate carbs a lot better, it's easier to just split the meals up, okay? People that don't, we always prefer that they have their higher carb meals after training and sometimes even a little bit before training. The easiest answer to this is whatever is going to work for you, right? Because the optimal answer is the one that I just gave, but whatever you can stick to easier is the one that I actually recommend. It's as simple as that. The question always comes down to how comfortable on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident from a scale of 1 to 10 are you that you can do this 90% of the time? And if the answer is 8, 9, or 10, we keep it. If it's less, we make it simpler and easier until you can like dominate that, okay? So this concept in precision nutrition that we use that's like so simple with this is anytime and post-workout meals. So most people, like I said, if you have a tough time tolerating carbs, you want to lose body fat, you want to lose weight, simple. After training, you eat a post-workout meal, which usually has more carbs in it. So this meal would consist of protein, starchy carbs, veggies. What an anytime meal is, protein, veggies, good fats, right? This is the simple way of doing it, the very, very simple way of doing it, right? So level 2, you know your range where you should be for calories, you know your breakdowns of macros, and then you decipher how many meals. Do you want to have 3 meals a day, 5 meals a day, even 2 meals a day? I recommend somewhere between 3 and 4 for most people. That's comfortable. And then you choose. Do I want to just split it out evenly? If I have more weight to lose and I have more body fat to lose, I'm probably going to want to have post-workout meals and anytime meals. So with that said, like I said, we've covered level 1, moving down from setting your goals, finding your it and why, to awareness, to habit change, to calories, to micronutrients, to some simple concepts that you can implement right now, where like level 3 of this would be things like macro rotation diets, meaning cycling days of medium, high, low, like I said, protein, carbs, fat, and also cycling calories depending on how much you train. So, you know, the simple explanation of this, and like I said, we'll do a separate video on this, is days where you train more, there's more activity, you eat more carbs, you eat more calories based on your goal, right? Whether it's gaining muscle, losing fat, and days where you don't, you eat less. But like I said, this concept, level 1 and level 2, can legitimately get you to your goal, because level 3 starts becoming more, I would say, like physique athletes, performance athletes, where your goals like are very, very specific and very niche and very, I would say it's on the list of where this is something that you do, right? And whether it's your career, whether it's, like I said, in sport or in a physique type competition. I'm not saying that, like I said, that you can't have a goal and hit that goal for possibly a photo shoot or something like that. But if you're not being able to be compliant through these phases, level 3 becomes, like I said, it's like jumping from, you know, algebra in 6th or 7th grade to some really, really challenging quantum physics stuff, right? So that's the thing is, and what we see is like trying to jump straight to complexity, as if complexity will get you the results. The more complex, the more results it will get you. Where the truth is that taking it step by step and meeting you where you're at currently with your lifestyle and nutrition is what actually gets you the best results. So post any questions and comments under the video in the blog section, and to dig deeper into anything we can help you with based on nutrition. But like I said, through all the feedback, if you just follow these steps, adding 1 or 2 habits at a time based on where you're at, you're going to start seeing some really significant changes. Coach Luka out with the lunchtime nutrition corner from my little comfortable seat here. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.